She goes on to say what might be the most hurtful part. From now on, you do not exist. And she refers to her new boyfriend when she says he is her dad now, not you. Don't ever ask about her again.
Children can be easily manipulated by one parent into hating and fearing their other parent. This is child abuse. This is domestic abuse by proxy. This is called parental alienation. But it is possible to fight. Adult children do wake up to reality. Alienated parents do get their children back.
Hi, I'm Maddie and welcome back to the Anti-Alienation Project. Welcome if you're new here. I have been through parental alienation from the child's point of view for 20 years. So now I have this little project going on. Since I figured everything out last year, not many people are speaking out about this topic. I feel as though it's my duty to expose what happens from the child's point of view. I talk about all things parental alienation on my channel and try to spread awareness, help alienated parents, and get through to those who are still experiencing alienation. I need to give a big disclaimer for today's video. If you are not doing so well, if you're in a dark mental space, I would just say, please don't watch this video today. It is a dark video, maybe the darkest video I've ever done, but it needs to be covered. This story is tragic, disgusting, morbid, and unfortunately not too off base from what parents experience from parental alienation. Since this involves a crime, this case is still going to court as we speak, so I need to say that everything in this video is alleged. I need to say beforehand too that I know I've covered a lot of cases where the father is a targeted parent, and this one is as well. The father is a targeted parent, but that doesn't mean that mothers cannot be targeted parents as well, and I hope to soon explore some cases where the mothers are the targeted parent. So let's just jump on in. This case involves Mandy Roosh, who's 35, and Kevin Metzger, who's 37. Kevin is from Irwin, Pennsylvania. Kevin Metzger was 37 when he decided to take his own life on June 18th, 2021. But let's remember Kevin for who he was and not that one decision that has gotten him on our radar. Kevin, by all accounts, was a kind and down-to-earth person, very involved in his community. Kevin was actually a member of the Army for 20 years. He served in South Korea on the missile defense, and after he was honorably discharged, actually re-enlisted himself into the Army Reserves, working at a water purification plant. But Kevin had varying interests. He seemed like a very interesting person, actually. He had a passion for music and for bringing back metal music and concerts to his area. He also worked as a bartender and a specialist for hot tubs and pools. Not only that, but Kevin was an outdoor enthusiast. He would lead climbing, rappelling, kayaking, hiking, snowboarding, biking, and all other sorts of outdoor adventures. As his obituary describes him, Kevin enjoyed a good time, but was always there for his friends in tough times. He was a selfless and dedicated friend. It says, above all, though, he passionately cared for his daughter. He was a devoted father. The most important part of Kevin's life was being a father. He loved his little girl, and it pained him tremendously to not be able to have the active role in her life that he so badly desired. He had a child with a woman. Her name is Mandy Roosh. She's 35, and she's currently facing a charge of aiding and abetting suicide because she found it within her heart to not only withhold her daughter from Kevin, who loved his daughter greatly and didn't do anything to deserve that, but she also, over the span of 13 months, encouraged and coerced him to take his own life. Police said that the messages were, quote unquote, the most extreme bullying they've ever seen. Things that she said to him were, I hope you die. Your daughter has a new dad. She's referring to her new boyfriend. She said that she wanted a $250,000 life insurance policy. She even threatened to shoot him. She said, quote, enjoy not being a dad anymore because you don't appreciate your daughter's mom. This line in particular really points out the parental alienation aspect to me because she's telling him her reason for not letting him have a relationship with his daughter, and it's because he hurt her mom. In other words, Mandy's saying, you hurt me, so you can't have a relationship with your daughter. And that's what parental alienation comes down to. The pathological parent feels hurt, jaded, like they've been wronged, and so to retaliate, they withhold their child, or they use their child to hurt their ex-partner. So right out there is, in my mind, it's a complete confession, allegedly, of parental alienation. It just gets worse. She described more than once in graphic detail having relations with other men, even going so far as to send him explicit videos. That's the mother of your child. How awful. Disgusting. She would mock him over the death of his dog. She sent him messages degrading not only his character, but his physical body. She said that he was, quote, ugly, bald, and had rotten teeth, end quote. And then Kevin, they found that he made several comments to Mandy via text message. One of those is, quote, you keep telling me to kill myself. You want me to die, end quote. Mandy told him that she was moving in with her new boyfriend. She used this relationship with her new boyfriend as well to hurt Kevin. It seems as though she just had it out for Kevin, and she truly did want him to die. So she actually had more than one charge, but the judge has dismissed the additional count of harassment. As of now, Mandy Roosh is out in the public. She's free on a $150,000 bail. One reason why I'm talking about this is because although there's all this talk about this case relating to the death of Kevin Metzger, there is no talk about parental alienation. It's a clear case of parental alienation, which if there were no daughter involved, Kevin probably could have walked away, blocked her number, managed to escape this horror. But the child was involved, and that's why he was so depressed. The child being withheld from him, the pain that must have caused, as well as Mandy's harassment and abuse altogether caused the situation. But I wonder if it would have been preventable without the parental alienation aspect, as well as the fact that the parental alienation is not right now considered a crime in a court of law. There is no punishment. But does this woman really deserve the child? After all of this, does she seem like a loving, healthy, minded mother who will take care of that child? I believe that there need to be ramifications in terms of custody when it comes to parental alienation. And in this case, I do not think this woman deserves custody. That's just my own personal opinion. Mandy's lawyers have already stated that they are going to file to dismiss the charge because they were filed after a 2-year statute, but not only that, they said that the messages were immoral, but they did not meet the criminal threshold. And the criminal threshold, in order to meet it, there has to be coercion, duress, and a method and a means discussed. But apparently, according to them, there was no coercion, no duress, and no method or means discussed. However, I don't know how you can argue there's no coercion. There are a lot of tragic pieces of this case, and one of them is that before deciding to end his life, Kevin Metzger wrote on Facebook, I can't do this anymore. She needs to be punished. The courts are too slow. Those sentences I've seen on many support groups for parental alienation online. The courts are too slow. She needs to be punished. I can't do this anymore. That to me really does indicate that the parental alienation was a driving factor to lead him to take his own life, in addition to obviously the coercion on her part. Let's go back to May 5th, 2021. This is 1 month before Kevin took his own life, tragically. Here are some exchanges between the two. Mandy said, you won't see her for Father's Day or any holiday. She actually said, my kids will be literally better off with any role model other than you. She said, if you show up here again, we have a gun and I will call the police. So she threatened him with violence. By the way, he has not done anything wrong to deserve any of this. This is not justified in any way. He deserves to have his parental rights intact. He deserves to be a father. By all accounts, he is a great guy. This is how parental alienation goes. You're falsely accused, you're not allowed to see your child, and you're being punished for crimes you didn't commit. She goes on to say what might be the most hurtful part. From now on, you do not exist. And she refers to her new boyfriend when she says, he is her dad now, not you. Don't ever ask about her again. She isn't your daughter. You'll never hear about her again either. She isn't your daughter. Just like that, a mother is allowed to strip a father of all of his rights to his own child. I don't know why there's this misconception out there that mothers love their children more than fathers. The bodily connection, mothers actually carry the child and grow the child and birth the child and nourish the child from their own breast. So maybe that's part of it, and the father can't do those things. That doesn't make a man any less of a parent. It's equal. It needs to be equal. And I'm talking to all these radical feminists out there, really, who think that women need to have the final say, that it's up to a woman whether or not that father can be involved in the child's life. This is not just, this is not fair. And the courts are not making that decision properly either. So in my mind, Kevin, he's not only a victim of Mandy, but he's a victim of the court system who failed to protect him, who failed to protect his relationship with his daughter and his rights to being a father. He wanted to be there. He was present, loving. He deserved to have his daughter in his life. Mandy actually said, quote, I hope that for our daughter's sake, you kill yourself, end quote. She was framing it as though he was be doing their child a service. I think we all know how messed up this is. But the fact that she got away with it to the point where he actually did end his own life is the tragedy here. She's been charged with certain things, but what about the child in this situation? Is she going to be allowed to have custody of that child? Clearly, she doesn't have the child's best interests at heart. You might think it can't get worse, and then it does, because Mandy is just that depraved. She actually said to Kevin, referring to their daughter, quote, she will call my new boyfriend dad because he's a way better dad than you. Kill yourself. I mean it. I actually want you to kill yourself because I think you are the worst person on the planet. I can't even imagine the pain, the hopelessness, the anger, the betrayal that Kevin must have been feeling those 13 months that she was saying things like this. In the obituary, Kevin's daughter is referred to as the light of his life. But Mandy would say things like, quote, who knows how big she'll be when you see her again, or if she will even remember you, end quote. She was breaking him down over a period of about a year, slowly, surely, and she did it by weaponizing their daughter. She did it by taking their daughter away from him. And the pain that caused him and the hopelessness that caused him proves just how much he did love that little girl. You know, the most disgusting part of this really highlights how these people operate. In the public eye, many times they seem to be a bright light in the community, religious, involved in charity work, or just be really kind and selfless. And we can see that play out in this case too. Publicly, Mandy Rouge mourned Kevin, of course, and she actually said that he is a great father who had left a hole in their family after his death. But her new boyfriend wasn't so keen on keeping the secrets. He actually told the press that after Kevin passed, she turned into a martyr, posting all these memories and pictures of him and saying how much she misses him and how good of a dad he was. He even said, I think she did this to cover her tracks. Kevin even said to a close friend before he died that Mandy was trying to get me to kill myself for the money. And that friend said that Kevin just wanted to be a present dad and she tormented him for years. More details came out as people learned about the case. It's been found that Mandy actually said that she was going to move states to move their child away from him. He was, of course, afraid that he was going to lose all contact with his daughter. And actually, prosecutors have been investigating this case for 2 years. Perhaps the saddest part of this case is that it's the beginning of a suicide note. It begins with, maybe she was right. maybe she was right. That alone tells me that he made a permanent decision because of the manipulation and the fact that he at some level was believing what she had been telling him. That he was a worthless father, didn't deserve his daughter in his life. That's the tragedy of parental alienation. It's just one aspect, but it is an important aspect of the tragedy of parental alienation, that sometimes parents can come to believe that they are the person their pathological ex is making the child believe they are. We need to talk about suicidality and parental alienation. There are huge overlaps, and there's a definite link in not only the alienated parent, but also the child. Many studies have shown that children experiencing parental alienation have increased suicidality. 30% of participants reported experiencing suicidality from adolescence into adulthood. That's terrifying. And many of these participants in the study actually had attempted. For the alienated parent, many studies have found elevated levels of suicidal ideation as well as elevated amounts of attempts. In the cases where alienated parents were considering suicide, all of them cited their children as the factor that stopped them from carrying through with it, which is amazing because it's the alienation of their children that causes this in the first place, but it's the children themselves that keep them from going through with it.
To be honest, I don't know how to end this video, and I think that's because it is such a dark and difficult topic to discuss, and many people don't even want to. But this is the reality of parental alienation. It causes the alienated child and the alienated parent pain that's to a degree that makes life unsufferable. Kevin's life mattered. His story still matters. And anyone out there who can relate to any way that Kevin might have been feeling, or a child going through this, your life matters too. Your pain matters too.